Welcome to this session of Autonomic Nervous System Pharmacology. Today we'll go briefly about the various aspects of autonomic nervous system associated pharmacology. We should start by understanding the basic structure classification of nervous system. Please note it down. Nervous system is broadly classified into two types. Number one, central nervous system, which associates brain and spinal cord, and secondly is peripheral nervous system, which generally involves neuronal tissues outside the CNS or central nervous system. This peripheral nervous system or PNS is further classified as autonomic nervous system and somatic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system, as the name implies, maintains an autonomy or self-control. On the other hand, somatic nervous system are generally voluntary action movement controllers, which generally considers controlling functions like movement, respiration and posture. Coming to the autonomic nervous system, it is generally helps to control the various visceral functions like cardiac output, digestions, blood flow. It also affects other functions like prostate. It also responsible for prostate cancer development. It also influences the immune functions and associated with central nervous system activity like seizure discharge. The autonomic nervous system, further we can say, originating in the nuclei within the CNS, is mainly classified into two. Number one, called as sympathetic nervous system, and the second one, parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system actually originates from thoracolumbar region of spinal cord, whereas parasympathetic nervous system originates from craniosacral division of spinal cord. There is a separate third part or section of ANS called as enteric nervous system, which is associated and present on the walls of GI from esophagus to the distal colon. The enteric nervous system are generally semi-autonomous in nature, which controls the GI motility and the sphincter function relaxations. Coming back to the sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions, the parasympathetic or the craniosacral division associated nervous activities are controlled by the release of the neurotransmitter called as acetylcholine. These mainly acts on two types of receptors, namely the muscarinic receptor and the nicotinic receptors. The muscarinic receptors are generally of 5 types, but predominantly the 3 subtypes like M1, M2, M3 plays a very important role in the pharmacological activities. M1 is generally associated with GIT, which results in vagal stimulation and gastric secretions. M2 is associated with the heart. M3 is associated with the glands and smooth muscle contraction. On the other hand, the nicotinic receptors comprises of NN and NM types. NM generally associated with the skeletal muscle. On the other hand, the sympathetic nervous system generally releases norepinephrine or noradrenaline. The adrenaline is a byproduct of norepinephrine or noradrenaline, which is secreted from adrenal medulla. This mainly acts on two types of receptors, mainly alpha and beta, which are subdivided as alpha 1 and alpha 2 and beta 1 and beta 2. Beta 1 and beta 2 mainly present in the heart and the blood vessels. Beta 2 exclusively is present in the bronchi. On the other hand, alpha 1 and alpha 2 are associated with the sphincter contraction of GI tract and urinary bladder. It is also present in the radial muscles of eyes. Now, you have to study these receptors properly because these are the sites of drug activity. You have to understand each type of receptors, how they work on the specific physiological functions of that particular organ of the system, and how the presence of the drug will moderate its activity. This is actually what we call it as the pharmacological study. Now, I will be specifying few physiological activities which will be stressed further when we go into the autonomic nervous system activity. First one, the organ is the eye. Here, as parasympathetic receptor which is present, namely the M3, which generally present in iris circular muscles and ciliary muscles, results in exclusive successive contractions. This contraction results in pupil constriction, resulting in meiosis and also reduction of intraocular pressure. On the other hand, sympathetic system comprises of alpha 1 and beta receptors present in radial muscles and ciliary muscles respectively. The radial muscle undergoes contraction. On the other hand, ciliary muscle undergoes a relaxation. Both, that is, alpha 1 and beta activity of sympathetic system results in pupil dilation. The dilation of the pupil results in mydriasis and increase in the intraocular pressure. Respectively, in the heart, parasympathetic receptor which is present is M2, which reduces the sinoatrial activity, which actually results in lowering the contractility of the heart muscle. On the other hand, the sympathetic receptors, specifically beta 1 and beta 2, which are present in the heart, does the reverse. Increases the pacemaker activity, successively increases the sinoatrial node activity, which further increases the contractility of the heart muscle. That is, in the case of M2 receptor, it results in lowering the heart rate, whereas in the presence of beta 1 and beta 2 receptor, it results in the increase in the heart rate. Next, lungs. If we consider, the parasympathetic system comprises of beta 2 receptor, parasympathetic comprises of M3 receptor that results in the bronchoconstriction, and the sympathetic system comprises of beta 2 receptor which results in bronchodilation. Now, when we go for the skin, it is the alpha receptor, that is your sympathetic receptor, which is present, that results in increasing the secretion of sweat. To remember the concept of adrenergic and cholinergic, you should remember adrenergic is the conditions which results in increasing the adrenaline secretion activities. Sometimes we call it as a fight or flight situation. Just remember, if you are in a danger, so if you are in a danger, what you will be doing? The main thing that your body will secrete is adrenaline. In the fear condition, you will be secreting adrenaline. So in the fear, what will the changes in the body? Your your heart rate will increase, isn't it? You will start to respire more. Your lungs activity will increase. So this is due to the bronchodilation, and your heart activity will increase. That is the effect of M1 and beta 1 and beta 2 receptor. When you are in a fight or the flight condition, your dialysis, your pupil will dilate, and you will try to see more in the dangered condition. And of course, that is also important thing you should remember, that in this such condition, in hypersecretion of adrenaline, your sweat secretion will increase. So these are the primary things that happens in the hypersecretion of adrenaline. So if you try to remember this fight or flight condition, somewhat you will be able to understand the basic difference of the activities due to the presence of adrenaline or norepinephrine, or in the presence of acetylcholine. The acetylcholine conditions will be just the reverse of that of the adrenaline. So in the next classes or discussions, we will further go inside the topic of this. Hope so you understand. If you have any doubts, you can ask me. Thank you.